Founder Friday. This is Amy Looper, founder of Relativity Cells. I'm here with Mr. Phil Castro out of the Chicago area and the founder at Kamp, and can be found on a Twitter, Clubhouse, and Instagram at Phil's Hungry. And we'll get to Phil, what you're hungry for today. But if you could just give the audience a quick intro to your boot camp and all the wonderful things you've been up to.
Yeah, sure. So for the Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Clubhouse, the handle is Kamp Events is for camp, and then mine is Phil's Hungry, and that is solely because I'm hungry all the time. Most people, well, some people say, "What are you hungry for?" Well, mostly burgers and pizzas, to be honest. But some people say success. I don't know. Whatever you want to think, that's cool with me. But yeah, that's where you can find us on all socials. In regards to camp, basically, it is an event series that I put on across the country to help early stage founders progress in their journey with event experiences. But
Mhm.
it's an event experience like no other because we do things a little differently. We have a very modern touch on how to provide education to early stage founders. We play like hip hop music, EDM. We have a happy hour. So we like to say it's opportunity meets education meets fun. So that's exactly what we do. And so far, we help 4,500 founders. We'll hit 5,000 by January 1st now that things are opening back up.
Yeah, that's super exciting. In the early stage, there's so many hats that founders have to wear, right? And so many things that they're working on between just getting their product market fit, their brand, et cetera. As founders really kind of get into that groove and start to work toward truly making, a legitimate pitch to investors to maybe get their first seed round, or maybe they're even going towards Series A or something. What do you think they should really focus on? Is it, all energy into the pitch? Are there other things that they should be really, encompassing on their journey to that particular investment stage?
Yeah, so I could probably talk about this for an hour and a half straight. But what I will say is this: all startups are not VC fundable. So that's
Mhm.
right off the bat. Just know that. So you need to understand what kind of business you have, what you're going for, if it's even relevant for VC funding. Um, and then after that, you have to figure out your sources of funding. So it doesn't have to be just a venture capitalist or an angel. It could be many other outlets. It could be friends and family potentially. It could be B2B lending, which is like Pipe. It could be e-com lending, which is like Clearco. You can be competitions. You can pitch at competitions. You get free money that way. You can get it from revenue, bootstrapping. There's a lot of different ways. So that's I would back up for a second. Just say first, right off the bat, understand that. Second, now going back to let's say you are a fundable or VC fundable business, that's exactly what you should be is fundable. So with that, typically they're looking for way more traction these days. So I would focus more on building your business and making sure you have an actual great foundation rather than being just great at pitching. Now, if you have both, if you're like great at pitching and you have a great business, then money's going to come a lot easier and quicker. But I would also say to have some sort of strategy when you're doing so, when you're raising capital for the first time, not just spraying and praying. Be very meticulous on how you do it and have some sort of strategy.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. It takes a lot of work to get the brand messaging right so that you're making sure that you're leading with value, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. When they're going in for their first pitch, let's just say, what sort of questions can they anticipate, an investor to ask them off the bat? Like what are the most consistent ones that you've seen in your experience? Because I know you hold a lot of pitch practice series.
Yes, yes. Many years of this. I would say that, it depends on obviously the venture capitalists and also the startup. But in generalities, just speaking in general, they're for
Mhm.
sure going to ask about the TAM. They're going to bring it down to the SOM, which if you don't know what that is, look it up. Then they're going to ask about the team and if they have
Mhm.
domain expertise, like how long this person has been doing this, and the co-founder, if you have one. Then they're going to ask about secret sauce, which is like special insights that and nobody else in the world does. And a lot
Yeah.
of times, people, founders, forget about that one. And then, most important, in my opinion, is GTM, a go-to-market strategy. So when you go there, they're going to ask you all these questions, and then even if you have, the best product in the world, how are you going to get it in the hands of your first 10,000, 15,000 customers if you're B2C? How are you going to
Yeah.
get it in those people's hands is the question. And then ask yourself, is it a very achievable way in a sense of being frugal and being smart and intelligent about it. So that's like the secret sauce with go-to-market strategy.
Yeah. And I love breaking it down into the TAM, SAM, and SOM, so that you can really understand like your niche, right? And then when you couple your niche with, or what you think your initial niche is, with, like your passion or your story, like what is your personal story? When you can bridge those two, I think that's when people start to see a lot of just success that organically happens, because the passion behind the business is just coming through so much more than if you're, just out there trying to sell a widget because you're trying to get VC money and sell it in 3 years.
Yeah. Passion is an extremely important thing, and I think that I don't want to say every event, I don't want to say every investment, but most investments only occur if you're passionate. And here's why:
Mhm.
is because entrepreneurship is literally one of the hardest things you can do, especially in tech startup world. So you're gonna literally get like punched in the face every single day. And it's really difficult. So
Yeah.
if the person's not passionate, they're gonna give up in year two. They're just not gonna make it past that. So if you're pitching an investor, venture capitalist, they're looking for that because they know that no matter what, you're not going to throw in the towel. You're going to keep working to try and get those multiples back to that VC.
Yeah, definitely. How do you think an entrepreneur that does have passion can really build their resiliency?
Um, that's a really tough question because it's like that nature versus nurture question.
Mhm.
Some people just have that fire in their belly right from the start. I would say this. I mean, just find something, whatever it is that is you hold close to your heart, something that you really care about, and fix that problem. As time goes on, you'll identify that it's not the easiest route. You probably could have did something else to make a lot more money, and maybe like have a regular 9 to 5 job that makes 200 grand a year rather than making barely anything. But figure out what that is, that problem is that you just are obsessed with. Because no matter if it is nature versus nurture, I would say that um, there's problems that everybody can really cling on to. They just have to figure out where. So you just have to do a little bit of digging in your personal life, in your family life, and with your friends or whatever. Society is something you care about. So just look at that. But once you figure it out, that's when you exploit that opportunity and try and build something around it for that solution.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I went through an accelerator myself as a founder, and that's the sticking point when you can align, your heart and where your expertise and your skill set can continue to drive, solutions forward, et cetera. That's when all that alignment happens. It's like the heavens open.
The gates.
Yeah, the gates open. The gates open. That's awesome. Well, I'm super excited that you are continuing, events, because I think, here in Arizona, we are definitely seeing people come back to life in in-person events. But I think virtual events have been extremely effective as well. So, thanks for hosting Kamp. I think it's going to be really exciting to see this community of early stage founders come together, and so appreciate your insight. And I will invite the audience to continue to follow you, because I think obviously share a lot of good best practices online. And I think do you have Winedown Wednesdays as well, some different events throughout the week?
Yeah, so we do a bunch of in real life events now, or we're starting back up, I should say now. But we
Mhm.
also started dabbling in virtual since COVID. So started using Clubhouse. I promised myself I wouldn't use it, and then I just totally did. So I broke down and did. But we do a bunch of awesome events on there. So usually on Wednesdays and Saturdays are like our days that we do events. But we have some that are coming up like on Wednesdays we basically have like a fireside chat with somebody that's really prominent like figure in the startup or venture capital world. So for instance, we have David Sachs, who co-founded PayPal and Craft Ventures, coming up. We have Wayne Chang, who is an angel investor in over I think 100 companies now. He started Crashlytics. A bunch of awesome VCs like Elizabeth from Hustle Fund. So just like really amazing like big name people that we have on Wednesdays. And on Saturdays, it's more of like a freestyle, like founder office hour almost esque.
Yeah.
We talk about like a topic for 45 minutes, and then we have founders just come up and they kind of just ask questions to try and help them get unstuck. So both are completely free. We just do it virtually and just have a great time doing both.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for all the services that you guys offer. We'll include the links below this video. And don't forget to sign up for Founder Fridays if you haven't already. And you can look at the Relativity Sales YouTube channel. There's a link below as well, where you can get free sales tips and tips to really boost the revenue generation for your early stage startup. Thank you, Phil, for joining us today.